Hinduism and same-sex relationships. Hi, I'm Dr. James Holt, and in exploring Hindu belief and practice, there may be different approaches to same-sex relationships and LGBTQ plus issues. Kama highlights the importance of pleasure, including sexual pleasure as an aim of life. In exploring this, there seems to be no mention of the type of relationship being expressed, just as long as it's not harmful. However, there is ambiguity in the contemporary Hindu world. In India, same-sex sexual relationships were banned by law until 2018, and although it could be argued that India is a secular nation, it's possible to posit the influence of the beliefs of its legislators on laws within society. For some Hindus, the idea of same-sex relationships is seen to go against the dharma of a householder, where a couple is unable to naturally conceive a child. Prigno, writing in 1996 in the UK, suggested that sexual power is one of the precious gifts of God and should be used properly. It's necessary, he said, to conserve and make healthy use of sex in a natural way. He suggests that sexual activity between people of the same sex does not create progeny and therefore is an improper use of a God-given gift and should be discouraged. However, for many Hindus, this might be seen as the influence of a colonial lens. The suggestion might be that prior to colonization, Indian and Hindu attitudes towards sexuality were broad and accepting, and that homophobia only came into being in India in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, and continues perhaps today. Wilhelm suggests that ancient Hindu teachings describe same-sex relations as a third sex, Tritiya Prakriti, an inborn nature combining both male and female properties. The people were recognized for their unique nature and incorporated into Vedic society accordingly. They weren't punished or persecuted under ancient Hindu law, and elaborate descriptions of same-sex relationships can be found in the Karma Shastra. It could be argued that any negative attitudes towards same-sex relationships have been filtered through a colonial lens that came to be accepted as a norm within Hinduism. For example, Nehru, following independence, as he tried to halt the publishing of photographs that depicted sculptures showing same-sex relationships, claiming that such vices were due to Western influence. In fact, others argue that it's his own perception of vice that has been influenced by the West. It's evident that there are different attitudes within Hinduism regarding same-sex relationships. On the one hand, it's argued that those opposed to same-sex relationships are influenced by 19th century British attitudes. However, on the other hand, it's a possibility that contemporary readings are influenced by the society of the early 21st century.